Well, this is the big brother to the Tiger 900 that we did a YouTube on just recently. So this is the 1200. It's the big daddy. It's been revamped completely. I remember when this model first came out back in 2006. I was the first person ever to write that model off, and I ended up breaking both my legs in Portugal and ended up in hospital. So anyway, here we are a number of years later, and they've brought out a new model, and I've been out on the road and tested it, and I haven't crashed it, which was, you know, a bonus. Well, I hope you like that little montage. But anyway, back to the bike. It is lighter, of course. It has a 30-litre tank, which is a big tank. And so when you're standing still, it feels a little top heavy. But once you get going, all of that seems to go away. And I think a lot of that is helped by the 21-inch rim and the setup of this Rally Explorer. Now, there are a number of different models, so this is much more sort of off-road orientated, but they have all the other models which are slightly more road orientated, or, you know, whatever fills your boots, really. But the thing I noticed about this bike when I got on it was how much fun it was to ride once you got going, and it really felt like it was moving around in the corners. It had great acceleration out. Even the front wheel little jumps a little bit in places as you're hard accelerating out of corners. One of the really nice little features of this, which I always love, is, you know, when you're taking the bike out really early on a Sunday morning to meet your friends for a Sunday ride. You've rung them all up and said, "Hey guys, you want to go for a ride?" And they go, "Yeah, let's go for a ride." Anyway, so you've decided to do that, but it's chilly, and you've got your summer jacket on, and you just flick the heated grips on, and then what's really nice about this is you hit the heated seat button, and that just warms you up. I was using it this morning when we were out riding, and just grips and seat, just perfect. So I suppose everybody wants to know how much it weighs. It's 161 kilos wet. They have reduced a little bit of weight on the frame, about 5.5 kilos. The subframe is bolted onto the back, so if you do have that little spill and happen to twist the back subframe, you can have it replaced. Oh yes, and on this particular model, the crash bars and the bash plate come as standard, and so do the hand guards, and all of those little things do make it work very nicely. So down here it has a tri-link swing arm. It's shaft driven. It's 5.5 kilos lighter, so they've saved a little bit of weight there. As you can see later on in the video, you'll see I got stuck somewhere today, but my super skill managed to get me out of it. One of the things I like about this bike is the connection between the suspension, which is semi-active, and the electronics of this bike, and they all seem to work together very, very well. It can detect how much weight is on the bike, and it reacts to that. So you're always got a very nice smooth ride, and it always seems to be in the right place. The display is really nice. It gives you all the information that you need really easily. You can change your whatever settings you want. You can go from road to sport, off-road pro, which pretty much turns everything off. I like that. And then you can press this button here, and then you can change riding age. You can go to riding age, and then you can change how you want that riding aid to be. So it's very, very clever. So it's a 1200cc engine, triple. It has a T-plane crank, and it's uneven firing. So it gives you that kind of interesting sound, and the airbox and the exhaust gives this really nice sound. I mean, to me, it kind of, when it's low down, it sounds a bit like a twin, but when you're really giving it loads, it feels like a V4, and that triple gives it that kind of mystical kind of feeling. Now, interestingly, when you talk about the engine and stuff, and you talk about the Tiger, and you talk about its history, and you know, all these bikes have been building off-road vehicles like the GS, BMW's been off-road, but Triumph have really been building kind of adventure bikes probably the longest. Now, the most famous person who Ewan and I had the privilege of riding with in Mongolia was Ted Simons, who wrote Drupalist Travels, and he rode a Triumph Tiger for about 5 years around the world. And I'm sure a lot of people have read his book, which is called Drupalist Travels. And Ewan and I read it, and it was certainly part of the reason why Ewan and I decided to go off on a long way around together in the first place. And we had the opportunity to ask Ted Simons to come over to Mongolia and ride with us for a little bit, which was a great pleasure. So the Tiger has been around for a long time. It certainly doesn't look like what it looks like today, but the history is there, and they seem to have kept that history going, Triumph. So very, very nice. Brings back good memories. So we could talk lots more about all the little nuances and the bits and pieces, the 21-inch front wheel, the suspension, the 250-mile range, all that kind of stuff, and could go on and on and on. But you guys will be able to look that up all yourselves, and the only thing we have to do now, really, is to get on this bike and give it a go. Now, listen to that engine note. Woo! Fast, and it really handles beautifully. It's got that 21-inch rim. This is the Explorer, so this is the one which is has the full off-road capability, the wire rims, the 21-inch rim front wheel that helps off-road. It's incredibly flickable and really confident around the corners. I have to say, I really do like it, and it has these little lights here on the mirrors, which tell you that someone's on your blind spot, and they do work. They really do work. But one of the nice things, which the RS Speed Triple has as well, is when you're stopped here, or anywhere, I have to say, and you're looking down, and it has this anti-stall on it. So when you're sitting there, it sits at just over 1,000 RPM. And then when you pull off, and you don't need your hand, you can pull off, and you can pull off without using the throttle, and off you go. And that's really handy. So that just creates, I think, anti-stall, basically. So it just eradicates that. And that's a nice touch. I think it's very clever. So it has all the usual mod content, wheelie control, traction control, all the usual stuff. And all of this technology really does help, I have to say. When you're on the road, it makes you a little bit of a safer rider. It really does help you if you get yourself into trouble. It has all that coronary ABS. It's got great lights. I used them at night the other day. Very nice. They say that the bike is a little thinner. It does feel a little thinner around the legs, but it's a very big tank, I have to say, and the weight is quite high. So that makes it, when you're standing still, that makes it, just a little hard work, really, when you're standing still. But like all these big bikes, once you get going, just glorious. And this bike is really fitting in, or trying to fit in, with the GS, and they've really made an effort to get right up there. And you've got the KTM, you've got the BMW, you've got the Africa Twin, it goes on and on and on. It's a very crowded area there, and what's becoming very popular as well is the smaller bikes. So the brother of this one, which is the Tiger 9, which is again a very, very capable bike, a lot thinner, not as heavy, still is just as capable. It's a nice little thing. It wheelies quite nicely. So what's nice is the display is really nice as well. Very clear, very easy to use. I don't mind these buttons. Lots of people say that the little mouse toggle gets in the way of the indicators, or the indicators get in the way of the toggle. But I don't mind that so much. It doesn't bother me. Gear changing, it's got the quick shifter, which is very nice, up and down. That works very, very well. There's quite a lot of vibration on the rear view mirrors. When you get up to a certain rev, it all becomes a bit blurry. Other than that, oof, look at this. This is where it really comes into its own on a road like this. Oh, look at this. This is just beautiful. It's just winding. It's slightly slippery, a bit of mud. You can just get the bike down, the power on. It's got lots of low down grunt. It feels like a twin bottom end and like a V4 near the top. It's bizarre. It's really nice. And the airbox gives it a really kind of noise. This seat is so comfortable. Oh my gosh. I've got the heated seat on. So, you know, those early morning runs when you're going out on a Sunday to meet your friends and you're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning in the spring or summer and it's just a little cold and you just stick that heated seat on, heated grips on. Oh, just perfect. You could sit on this bike for ages. You could go all the way down through the Alps, Samaritz, have a look down there, then head down towards the Lake Como, maybe go visit the Moto Guzzi factory, have a lunch by the side of the lake, a swim. Oh my gosh. Jump on this bike, head back again, hit some dirt roads. Oh la 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 la. What a little holiday that would be. And happily do it on this bike. Riding motorbikes on roads like this, just wonderfully exciting and delicious. Woo! Love it. So I got to say, just came back from the ride and it rides really, really nicely. I really do enjoy riding this bike. So again, it's the same old one. Would I have one in my stables? I think probably, yes, I probably would. I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't have this bike. I think it's a lovely bike. I think within its class, it really stands there strongly. And if you're going to do a lot of miles, really, really comfy seat. So if you like this video, please subscribe and do all the normal stuff that you do for the YouTube channel. Have a look at all the other stuff that I've done. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching and have a look at all the other stuff that I've done. Anyway, have a nice day. See you soon.